Hello and welcome to another edition of Overcoming Illness. So if you haven't seen the show before, this is Overcoming Illness on Elevation TV Network. If you haven't seen me before, I am Paula Denoncourt. I'm a certified holistic health coach, founder and CEO of Enrich Your Health. And I myself suffered from multiple food allergies, almost died from them. So if you want to know that story and exactly what I went through, please go back and watch the replay. You can go back to Elevation TV Network and go back and watch Overcoming Illness. It's the first show that I did, and I really talked about my experiences with food allergies. So I help people stop living in pain by giving them simple recipes. I do group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and speaking engagements, and now my own TV show. So I need you to help me. So if you're out there suffering from food allergies, food sensitivities, I've helped a lot in the Lyme disease community, autoimmune issues. These are the types of people I want to hear from, or even if you're a practitioner. I also need more people for the show. I'm going to be looking for sponsors, and I need people to be on the show that either have overcome an illness, are going through an illness, or like my special guest tonight, Miss Tina Kadish, who went through as a caregiver. I can't wait to introduce her tonight. She has had a daughter that went through cancer, so we're going to hear her story, her daughter's journey of the cancer and all of that, because it's so needed more now than ever. More and more people are out there getting sick right now. You know, because we're more aware of it, people think even more people are getting sick. But don't forget, this is the time of year where everybody gets sick. There's lots of gatherings. People are drinking, they're partying, getting stressed out, eating lots of goodies. So on top of that, we've got other illnesses that we've been fighting, the COVID, the this, the that, whatever. Every variant under the sun. Your immune system's weaker. So with that, just be aware of it this time of year. I do want to give you one word of advice before I introduce my guest. I just feel like it's really, really important. One thing to note about people that are ill, it's a stressful time of year for them, myself included. I used to get so stressed out about going to parties or friend's house or this or that because I might have an allergic reaction. You know, whatever it might be, they're more stressed if they have an illness already. So just have some compassion. They may get a little bit OCD because it's part of the illness, especially if it's autoimmune illness. They may get a little bit angry. Just have some compassion. Don't think it's all about, you know, they're just being them. It's part of their illness. So have some compassion. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because this time of year is stressful. More and more people are sick right now, and they want to be able to enjoy the festivities. They don't want to have to hide under the covers just because they can't eat something or because their illness does something to them. So just have some compassion. Let them be around you. Let them be who they are, and don't worry about it. It's either 1 day or 2 days or whatever it might be. Just don't even deal with it. So I just wanted to add that. So with that, I'm going to introduce Ms. Tina Kadish. I'm going to let you know a little bit about her, and we'll go right into the questions and journey of what she's gone through. So once again, I want to thank Tina. Tina Kadish is a business coach, an author, and speaker, and is the owner of From Job to Joy, which I absolutely love the name of that. I can't wait for my to go from that. I'm getting there. Work in progress. She provides, I should say, personal and professional development empowerment programs to owners, partners, HR professionals, virtually or on site within the Connecticut, New York area. With over 20 years of experience in the corporate world as a training and development specialist and talent acquisition herself, she brings a plethora of experience in various industries. Tina's mission is to impact men and women's lives by helping them live with joy, fulfillment, freedom. Through proven methods, she guides women and men to go from uncertainty to career clarity with immediate measurable steps towards their purpose. Tina offers personalized one-on-one coaching sessions, group coaching programs, seminars, workshops that enable her clients to live a purpose-driven life. As an author of Freedom, Freedom, it's 7 steps to thrive in a life and business. She helps women and men make their dreams a reality. As a result, her clients are getting their time back in their life, which is priceless. And I couldn't agree more. Welcome, Tina, and thank you so much again for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me, Paula. This is a pleasure. It's an honor to be here in your show.
It's an honor to have you, and I'm really looking forward to you sharing your journey, because I know that it's not going to be easy to talk about this. It's still quite fresh, but I also say it's so needed. And I do want to welcome all those that are watching, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're from. Good evening, afternoon, good morning, because we can only know who's on here if you actually comment. So please say hello from wherever part of the world you're in. So, Tina, please tell us the story of your daughter's cancer journey. First of all, first and foremost, what type of cancer was it? How old was she when she developed it? And did she have any previous illnesses in her body that could have even triggered this warning to come on?
All right. Well, thank you so much. Yes. So my daughter Daniela was her name, was 37 years old, and had was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, a stage 3C, in 2019, and didn't have any illnesses. She did have a hormonal imbalance, PCOS, and over the years, and so she had a very irregular hormonal balance, and so she developed this. She had stomach pains in March of 2019 and was going to the doctor, but the doctor never did any testing. She went multiple times to the physician, 5 times to be exact, between March and October of that year. And finally, in October of 2019, the doctor decided to do some testing. And when they did some testing, they found a lot of fluid in her stomach, and her stomach was growing, by the way. And the doctor just was saying, it's stress, you're gaining weight, whatever. It could be food allergies. Didn't really know what it was. And finally, we were referred to a gynecological oncologist who did some testing and said we need to do a hysterectomy because there's something we see. We may not have to do a full hysterectomy because she was 37, didn't have any kids at the time. So having kids would have been something that she would have wanted. However, physician did a hysterectomy, found a cyst the size of a cantaloupe on her ovaries. And she had cancer, uterus, fallopian tube everywhere. And it had even spread to her stomach area. But the doctors gave us gave us hope that she was going to be okay. And I always, I never believed that she was going to pass away. And we did chemo, but she also got a bowel obstruction that she couldn't even eat. It was horrible. And COVID hit in March of 2020. And she was in the hospital when COVID first hit, and we couldn't see her for over a month. So that was horrible. And so as her mom, she was my oldest. I do have another child, a son, but never been sick, no surgeries, nothing over the years. And then within 8 months, she passed away.
Wow.
So it was quick. And the doctors had said, that she could have 1 to 3 years, but I never believe it. And we went and got other opinions from other hospitals. And there was no different treatment. And because she also had a bowel obstruction, she wasn't eligible for any clinical trials. So that was challenging as well. So there was no new drugs that we could try whatsoever. So we were really just trying to find something else, an alternative, and keep going with the chemo. She was doing okay with the chemo, but because of her bowel obstruction, I think that's what really made it worse, because she couldn't even eat. The food wasn't going down, and she was connected to a bag. Yeah. And so it was horrible. And as her mom, I think the worst thing is that you feel powerless.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, and watching your daughter, your child deteriorate in front of you
Mm,
slowly, and you couldn't do a thing about it. All you could do is find a solution and help her in any way, and I did. But it just was so frustrating for me because me being a control freak and
mm,
always believing that there's a solution for everything, I just never thought that, never in my wildest dreams thought that this was not going to work. I thought the chemo was going to work. She was going to go in remission and she was going to, get a second chance at life. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I lost faith, really lost faith because, I'm a believer.
mhm,
And when this happened, I was like, wow, what do I do now? Like
mm.
I was really lost. So as a caregiver, I was with her every day, and I was so fortunate to be an entrepreneur because I was able to be with her every day
Yeah.
and helping her with doctor appointments, and being there with her was so important. It really was. Not knowing that I wasn't going to be with her anymore because she was going to go. And
Mm.
so it was just a horrible, horrible time. There were days that I really did not want to live,
I can't imagine. Yeah.
didn't want to live.
Hmm.
But my faith kept me going, and also my family. I mean, my daughter had a great support system, and that's one of the things that I talk about in my book that I'll share is having support is so important, to
Yeah.
surround yourself when you're dealing with an illness. My daughter had a lot of support. She really did. Family and friends. She had a network of friends, like, because she had so many friends and so many people that helped her and were there for her because she helped a lot of people. She was a giver. She really was. She was always there for her family and friends. So
Mhm.
it was very challenging as a caregiver. For those of you that are listening here, and if you're a caregiver and you're watching a family member going through an illness, and all you could do is pray,
Yeah.
and it's not always easy. It's definitely
I
not
know.
easy. No, definitely
No.
not easy. It really isn't. So that's a little bit of the story about it. And in my book I do share in more details about it, but I think that was really the shock, of the diagnosis, that I just thought it was going to be contained. But I really firmly believe that had the doctor taken tests sooner than later, it might have been a stage 1 or 2.
Mm.
It might not have spread. It might have been just a hysterectomy and they had caught it in time and going through maybe radiation or some chemo, and she could have been okay. But
So it
unfortunately,
was
that was not the
ovarian. You
case.
say it again. It was
Ovarian. It was
ovarian
ovarian. Yeah, it was ovarian 3C.
3C. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was. Yeah, it was. So, yeah, so we didn't have a chance really to, like, it grew. I mean, the cyst was the size of a cantaloupe when they opened her up.
Oh my God.
So it had time. I mean, it was growing and her stomach was growing. And the doctor kept saying she's gaining weight, maybe it's stress, and wasn't, maybe, again, we thought she was lactose intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, didn't do any allergy testing whatsoever. So it was very frustrating. And I finally had said to my daughter, you need to change physicians. And in hindsight, I think we should have changed physicians sooner and get the testing and really pushed it, because she had pain all the time. Back pain, pelvic pain,
Oh,
stomach
that's
pain,
fine.
always had pain.
Yeah.
And the doctor did nothing. So one of the things that I want to emphasize here is that all of us need to be an advocate for our own health
Yes.
and having a voice and speaking up and really sharing to them and asking them questions. Okay. And it's okay to be a pain in the what, because it's your body,
Yeah.
it's your life. And
Yeah.
don't let the doctors tell you otherwise. You got to keep
Right.
pushing.
I agree.
You really got to keep pushing and
So
push.
now you live in the Connecticut area. Your daughter lived in Connecticut in that area.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
I used to live in Massachusetts. For those of you who don't know, I'm in North Carolina now. Did you seek out like some of the doctors in the Boston area, because for those of you who don't know, Boston is some of the best doctors out there that you can get, like Dana Farber and that type. So did you seek out
We
those
did. We
doctors?
went to Dana Farber. We did. We went to
Did.
Dana Farber. We went to Sloan Kettering, which is in New York. We
Oh, those are both
also,
amazing.
yes, yeah, we went to Sloan Kettering twice,
Mhm.
and they said there was nothing else. We were actually going to fly her to MD Anderson in Texas, but it
Mm,
was too late at the end,
yeah.
because she was in the hospital and she was really weak, and they
Hmm.
had already said she wasn't going to make it. And but there was no different treatment. And the doctor, the oncologist, I have to say, he really did try. And we were in Stamford, Connecticut, connected to, it was called Bennett Cancer Center.
Okay.
But we were at Sloan, we went to Dana-Farber in Boston. So we did. And I even sent documentation to Mayo Clinic
Mm,
as well, but it was too late. She had already passed away by that time.
wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
quick. So did
It
she
was
have
quick.
all her tests, like
Yeah.
gynecological
Gynecological
exams and
tests.
all that all the time?
She
Did
did
she get
every year.
all the time?
Every year she went for her yearly pap smear.
Wow.
And because she was diagnosed in March of 2019, and I mean, in October 2019, she had gone, her last pap smear was November. So it was November of 2018
Hmm.
that she went. So every year she went for her pap smear. So she was actually due to go in November of 2019, but by then she already had her hysterectomy done.
So she just all of a sudden just started getting like back pain and different
Stomach
symptoms.
pain, yes,
Stomach
yes.
pain. Wow.
Yes, exactly. And it just started getting worse and worse. And she went to the doctor, in March. She went in May. She went twice in July. Then she went in October, 5 times in that period. And she never did any x-rays, no CAT scans, no MRIs. And my daughter has had this doctor in Stanford for many years.
Mm,
This was not a brand new doctor that she had. Knew her history of the PCOS, okay, because she's had that. And so she always had irregular periods and she was on different birth control pills. So, my daughter wasn't the healthiest person either. She was a heavy smoker
okay.
and as well, and didn't eat well, and she was also, stressed out and had anxiety. And so she wasn't the healthiest person, but the fact that no testing was done
Yeah.
and lawyers have told me that, and doctors have told me that this is a silent killer, and that even if we had diagnosed her sooner, it would have still led to the same. I disagree, because I really, because I know people that have had ovarian and they're alive today because they were diagnosed sooner.
They got it early.
They
Yeah.
got it early. They got it early. Hers, they didn't get early. Okay. And it's not like my daughter wasn't proactive and not going to the doctor. She was
Yeah.
going to the
Yeah.
doctor.
That's why I ask. And it's more for the audience. Like, just what steps was she taking, in her life, and what, all of a sudden this just came on. Because things like cancer or any illness, really, a lot of times we have it in our body and then it just comes out when we are stressed to the max. Like for myself, for example, I was working at, for anybody who doesn't know, I was working in a prison for 22 years as a dispatcher. I was stressed to the max. So guess what? Food allergies wound up coming on tenfold, and I almost died from that.
Wow.
So yeah, so anything, I truly believe anything that you have in your body is going to come out tenfold when you're stressed, and then
Absolutely.
diet will play a role. Um, Seeing doctors, different things will play a role. Environmental things, what products you use, all of that. Um,
I
Different
agree. I
things
agree.
play a role. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But stress is definitely the number one contributor.
hmm,
Okay. In things coming out. Exactly what you said,
right.
Paula. Yes.
Like, and just to share, another cancer story. My mom had breast cancer. She got it shortly after my dad died. She was stressed out. All this stuff was happening to her. Mom had just passed prior to that. So, she was just stressed out, and then that just came out. You know what I mean? Like she was probably carrying it for a long time. It just comes out. and she wasn't the healthiest either. She
Okay.
smoked, different things, but I truly believe stress just brings it out in the body. Your body gets overly acidic, it gets overly worked, just all of that. Whatever you've got in your body just comes out tenfold. So if you've got stress in your life, you have to find ways to release it. And that's part of what you do. So
Right, exactly, exactly. No,
yeah.
and I really believe that because stress causes a lot. Even when my daughter passed away, I suddenly, so we had COVID 2020, our whole family got COVID.
Oh my God.
Then, then I got mono twice in 2021.
Mm,
Then I had some breast issues that I had to have a biopsy.
wow.
This all was after my daughter passed away,
Yeah, the stress.
and it was all the trauma
Weakened
and
immune system.
all the trauma
Yeah.
and going to a naturopathic physician. So I'm on track and everything. But yes, it really does create problems in our bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really does.
So tell us a little bit so that, what was the hardest challenge going through this journey with your daughter? Tell
So
us a
I
little
did mention a
bit.
few minutes ago how I felt powerless, but I think that it's when I was trying to find solutions
Mm,
and nothing was working. And so, I want to, as a business coach, I help my clients with their mindset. And I really help them to really get to the root of what is going on in their life, in their career, what's stopping them, why they're stuck, the barriers. And so, as a coach, I couldn't even coach my daughter
mm,
because she wasn't receiving it because she was really angry because she had cancer and she wasn't feeling good and because of everything that was going on, and with the bowel obstruction that made it even worse because she couldn't
mm,
even eat, and just feeling powerless and that I
mm,
lost control and I had no control was the biggest challenge for me, that I just couldn't. I was helpless, plain
yeah.
and simple. And that for me was really difficult because like I said, I'm a take charge. So I'm a doer and I just keep going, keep going, keep going
Mm,
and taking care of her and everything. And I was just in that caregiving mode that it didn't even dawn on me that she was going to go. And, but as she was getting worse and I was seeing it, but I was in denial
mm,
that she was getting worse. And I kept saying, well, no, she's going to get better. She's getting better, because then we went into the natural remedy route. We were doing all these alternative,
I'm just gonna. Yeah.
remedies and, all that. And I said, it's going to work, because we're going to beat this, because the doctors had told us in March of that year. She died in July. In March, the chemo wasn't working. And he said, there's nothing else we can do. There's no other treatment. I
Mm,
said, well, I'm not worried because we're gonna beat this, because we're gonna do anything we need to do. CBD, we tried everything. We tried the medical
wow.
marijuana. We got a medical marijuana for her. We went all out on everything we could do naturally.
Mm,
Okay. And I really believed we were gonna turn it around. And
mm.
so it's that I just lost control. It was so hard.
And what about your daughter? Do you think she felt like she was gonna beat it? How did she feel about it?
She would ask me, Mom, am I going to die? And I said, no, you're not going to die. We want, why don't you start thinking about positive things and how you're going to beat this and how you're going to have a second chance at life. And she says, but Mom, but what if I don't? I'm like, but stop thinking that. Why are you thinking that? And she said, because I want to know. And I said, well, I said, let's not focus on that. Let's focus on what we're going to do to get you better.
Mm,
But she would always say to me, Mom, I'm not a fighter like you are. You're a fighter. I'm not
mm,
a fighter. So I really believe that she accepted and had already resigned
mm-hmm.
that she was going to go.
Oh wow.
I
Yeah.
do. I do. Because I never saw throughout the time her getting angry or felt like she was just like, I think she was counting on me and others. And I think she was praying for a miracle, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
That it was that somehow, because she was a journalist and she wrote a lot, and I found a lot of things that she had written, how she really was so grateful for me and my son, because we really tried to help her and we really did everything that we could, and nothing worked. Like nothing worked. And COVID hit, made it even worse. We couldn't see her. She was alone for over a month before I got to see her. I mean, no one else could see their patient, but I got to see her, and I actually was there with her when she passed away.
Oh, that's
um, because it was even during COVID and I wasn't allowed to stay there with her, but I stayed. Because one of the things, I talk about this in my book, is my strength
mm,
and my courage and to stand up, because I
mhm.
will stand up. And as a parent, and I think, as a, whoever, like for the listeners here, you might be a spouse and you might,
Yeah,
see a loved one. Me as a parent, I'm going to fight and I'm not quitting. I'm not going to quit.
amen to that.
And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not going to quit. And so I did everything I could possibly do. And that's is today I have no regrets that
yeah,
I didn't fight hard enough. Maybe I could have pushed her sooner to go to a different doctor. But my daughter was very stubborn and and she was an adult. She was 37. She had
right.
many friends, and even her friends told me, Tina, your daughter was very stubborn. She had a mind of her own and wasn't going to listen to anyone.
Mm,
I mean, she was 37. She was an adult. There's so
yeah,
much you can do. You can't make someone do something
yeah.
either. So that was the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge.
Was she married with kids or?
No, no, she wasn't married, no kids. And so I think that's also a blessing,
Mm,
that she wasn't,
right,
because, had she been married and had kids and then to lose a mom,
mm,
at such a young age, I think would have been horrible.
right,
I think it would have been worse, to be honest
right.
with you. I do. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think that was the real biggest challenge for me
Hmm.
as her
And that
mom. Just,
would have been a reason for her not fighting as much for herself. She didn't
she
have
didn't. She
like her
didn't.
immediate family. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was frustrating for me because I didn't see her fight hard enough. Because I would also say to
Right.
her, "Who's the one that has cancer? You or me?
Mm,
Because I don't see you fighting enough."
wow.
And I would say to her, "I'm not going to outlive you. You're not going on my watch."
Mm,
And she said, "No, I know, Mom. I am fighting." I said, "But I don't see it.
mm-hmm.
I don't see it. And so that was frustrating for me. That
Yeah.
really was, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. It really was.
Wow. So, what did you learn from this journey that you want to pass on to others?
So my book, From Pain to Peace, A Mother's Heartbreaking Journey Through Losing a Child, is
Mm,
really about what I wanted to do is honor my daughter, because when she passed away and I was in the hospital, I said, "Okay, God, what do I do now?" I help women find a new career. And I really, to be honest with you, that moment I said, I really don't want to do this anymore. Like, what am I going to do? And so, but as we go through challenges in our life, whether it's our career, our marriages, financial, this was navigating loss. I've lost the job, I've lost a marriage, and now I've lost the daughter.
mm,
Loss, is different, and so I've had losses. This is by far the biggest loss for me. And I said, now what do I do? And so the lesson I learned is that, number one, be grateful that no matter where you are in your life, always be grateful for what you have.
yeah.
Like right now, there's days, it's 2.5 years later, to be grateful for, like, the holidays are coming. It's a very difficult time. It's the third Christmas.
Right.
And so we've already gone through the first. Our first Christmas, we all had COVID, so we couldn't even spend Christmas together.
Oh, Lord.
My mother was in the hospital with because she has Alzheimer's and she got COVID and she got pneumonia,
Oh, my
but she
goodness.
lived. But she lived. She's alive. She's 88, and my dad
Oh,
is alive. And so my dad, buried his first granddaughter, and so that was horrible. And they're both still alive today, 88. And
mm,
so seeing that, there was a lot of anger that I had because my mom was still alive
mm-hmm,
and my daughter, didn't live.
mm-hmm,
And so, but, as a believer, it was meant for my daughter to go. And my daughter would always say everything happens for a reason.
And yeah.
So maybe like her job was done, and now it's up to me to carry forward her purpose,
Hmm.
because I really want to honor her. I don't want, my book is not meant to be a downer, in the
Right.
sense that the 5 stages of grief, and and I share that a little bit in my book, but I really want people to know that it's creating a legacy. Like, what legacy do you want to have for your loved one?
Mm,
How are you celebrating, your loved one?
mm,
Remember, because all we have right now are memories.
right.
And I'm very grateful that my daughter and I had a very good relationship. We used to travel together. We were on the phone. Like, she was like my friend.
Oh,
And I was very blessed that I, as a mother-daughter, I had that. Wasn't like that all the time. For many years, we did not have a good relationship, but
mm,
we did. And so I'm very grateful that we had that kind of a relationship to this day. And
mhm,
so I now have memories, good memories of us together.
good.
And so today, there's sadness,
Hmm.
but I always go back to the times that we spent together, the
Yeah.
conversations we had, and so really being optimistic that during these challenges, how can you be optimistic? What can we do to
Mhm.
really show gratitude, and the precious moments. I have family. I have a niece that's 5 years old. I have my son. I want to live longer because I'm living, I have a husband. So there's people that I still have. I have
Mhm.
great friends, great support. So, and my business. So it's really cherishing those moments and being grateful, and honoring her. Like, I don't want people to forget her.
Right. Now, you said she was a journalist. Did you take what was in her journals and put that into your book, or are you turning her journals into a book that would have been?
I'm going to what I did with this book, because I still have more that I'm going to share about her,
Hmm.
upcoming at some point,
Yeah.
because she, as a writer, was going to write her own book. And I found some index cards in her room that she was going to write, and the topic was self-love.
Oh, wow. So see,
Yeah.
thing there.
Yes. Yeah, so she was going to write this book. And so I'm going to write this, um, at some point. But this book was really to share my journey as a mom
Right. That
with
was
my
your
daughter.
side.
Yep,
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
my journey, my lessons. And in my book, I have, reflection questions. So it's a book that I want people to really write their own, points. Like, I talk about mental strength is a chapter in the book. How can we have that mental strength during those challenges?
Mm,
How do you keep it all together?
yeah.
Because, and what kept me going was faith, and not quit. Like, I'm not a quitter. Like, there was just no option to
Hmm.
quit. There was just none,
Yeah.
and that was me. I've always been a fighter. And so I think that this, for me now, has taught me to surrender,
Hmm.
that I cannot, it's not me, it's higher power, whatever we believe in. It's a, it's, we're just here until it's time to go.
Right.
And some of us go sooner than later.
Right.
Her purpose was done.
Mm,
My purpose will continue. And as a mom, I've met so many moms, unfortunately, that have lost a child,
mm,
through illness or suicide, accidents,
hmm.
overdose.
Mm,
It is really, I've been attracting more and more. And if my book can give them some inspiration to get through, to wake up, to get up in the morning, because a person that bought my book said, for the past 6 years, I couldn't get out of bed because I lost my daughter to leukemia. And she said, because I read your book, I'm able to have hope, and
mm,
have, like, you gave me some real good inspiration that I can, and that it's a difficult topic to talk about, because people, here's the thing that I've also learned. At the beginning, everybody wants to help you. Oh, I
Mm,
have no words. I don't know what to do. How can I help you? But then it all dies down. They're
yeah.
gone. My daughter's friends, nobody's there caring about her anymore. They
Yeah.
don't. They don't. They're going on with their life. They're living their life.
Mm,
That brings me sadness
mm-hmm.
because everybody's moved on with their life and no one even asks about me
Mm,
or my daughter. Like, no one even go, like, they just don't. And so
mm,
that brings me sadness, but they're moving on to
mm-hmm.
their life. And so, and my daughter was always a giver. And so there are those kinds of things that you see. People care at the beginning, but then as it dies down, they don't. They
I know.
don't,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And that's the way it is. So while your loved one is alive, cherish them, spend time with them, be appreciative. Really, that is so important to cherish the moments, be in the present moment all the time, is what I would definitely recommend. It's something that I've learned. And I'm glad that I was with her and got to spend time with her. Some people, some parents don't ever see their kids,
Right.
and I was very blessed in that respect.
And that kind of goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I just shared that about about illness, like autoimmune or even cancer or whatever. Sometimes people are dealing with an illness around the holidays. They don't feel great. They don't know what they can eat that's going to make them feel sick. All these different stressors or other stressors. Maybe seeing people with, like you said, your daughter was single. This used to be like it was a little bit of a trigger for me, see everybody all with their significant others or whatever, and you just kind of feel like, what about me?
Exactly. And that was her. That's exactly where she was.
Yeah.
Before she got diagnosed, she was not in a good place. She was very depressed, had anxiety.
Hmm.
The love department wasn't working out for her. And
Yeah.
she actually wrote an article about it, how she realized that she had a very good life and wasn't grateful for it.
Wow. That's really that's
And I
big.
found that the article that she
Mhm.
wrote, and because she was journaling her experience. And so she said that. And so I have a chapter about gratitude. Being grateful is so important.
Yeah, you said earlier that her job was done. Her job was done in the natural,
And the
but
natural.
her job isn't done.
Right, right, exactly. So she's got something more to
It's
do,
not.
but on earth it's done. Exactly. And my
Yeah.
my daughter was a very she would say to me, "Mom, I'm an old soul, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe that I came from another period in time,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't feel like I belong here on this
Oh
earth."
wow.
And she used to say this, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, I could not
Hmm.
understand it and grasp that. I'm like, okay, whatever. But I think her soul,
I
it was
get it.
ready.
I
It was
get it.
ready. It was ready. It was ready to
Mhm.
go. Yeah. But you're right. She's not done.
Oh
It,
no, not by a long shot.
no,
Because
not by a long shot.
what you're doing on your perspective, and then you're going to take all of her, um, whatever you want to call it, her journals, her thoughts, everything, and
Hmm.
then spread that to the world. Then I mean, it's endless. It's
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
her job.
exactly. Yeah, no, her job is
Uh,
not done. It's done here on earth, but
yeah,
she's doing other things up wherever in heaven, wherever she is, whoever she's having fun with.
yeah.
But I do believe she's proud of me and as her mom because I keep, talking and doing good work. And I'm part of a nonprofit, something I'm very passionate about that helps cancer patients, helped us. I'm on the board. So my giving back is so important to helping other caregivers and cancer patients themselves in the hospitals as well. One Tough Cookie is the name of the organization.
I was gonna say, what
That
is it called? One tough cookie.
Yeah,
Okay.
One Tough Cookie. They're based in Connecticut. The founder, she's a breast cancer survivor herself.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she, which I think, would be great for you to meet her. But I really believe that she founded this organization, and my daughter was the first One Tough Cookie nominated, And
Mhm.
what they do is we go to hospitals and we provide care bags to them, and it gives them some happiness. It gives them some, things for them to take care of themselves while they're going through this difficult time. And for the caregivers, we
Oh my
help
God.
them.
Yeah. You need to connect with one of my previous guests. I'll have to send you the show.
Okay.
Um, she does care bears for cancer people, and
Okay, you'll have to tell me. Okay. That'll be great.
it was on my show. She was on my show a couple of weeks ago. Trying to think of the name of it. What is it called? I can't think of the name of her
Okay.
organization. She's based in, I think, Indiana or Illinois, but she does it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and she gives Care Bears to cancer patients, and
Hmm.
it became a nonprofit organization.
Okay,
So
so care bags. Okay, I mean
yeah,
care bears.
yeah. So you've got care packages, and she's got the Care Bears. You guys need to like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. I'll
yeah,
Google it. I'll
shows
Google it.
the name of it and all that because I cannot think of it off the top of my head. But
Okay.
an amazing person. She was working for, I don't know, it was a hospital or something related, hospital related. And, the cancer patients would come in and there was a bear, I think, on her desk. And that's how it all started. Like she wound up giving the bear to somebody. And then, little by little, she was just like, people need this love, like this, you know what I mean?
Exactly. They
That,
do. They do. Yes, they
so
do.
she
Yeah.
started a nonprofit
Wow.
organization.
Oh
So,
wow. Okay.
um,
Wow.
uh,
Okay.
social media links and the show that she was on and all of that because she's an amazing person. And I think you guys should connect. I mean, you could probably do wonders
Yeah.
together, make this uh,
Okay.
nationwide. I mean,
Good. 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 I will definitely see.
yeah, we have the power of the internet, so might as well
I
use it.
Exactly. Exactly. No, definitely. Thank you so much. I will definitely, because I really want to connect with other people. How can we help them? How can we, you know, share our resources and help someone else? Because like we said, we're going through difficult times. People feel isolated.
Mm-hmm.
They may be alone. They may not have family. See, like I said, my daughter was very fortunate. We had a lot of family
Right.
and friends, but some people don't have that.
Yep.
They don't.
Care Beers for Cancer or something like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, just to make sure, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys need to connect, but it's those types of things that I'm finding more and more, I'm seeing more and more people that have had breast cancer and just these different things. We all need to connect, like you say, and just help each other's resources and
Okay.
all of that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Good.
Um, so, another thing you mentioned is voice. VOICE. That's a book. So, tell
Yep.
us what voice means. I think you've already touched upon this a little bit, but tell us what that means.
Yes. So what I learned through this process is having a voice, and I mentioned this a few minutes ago, and it's part of my mental strength. So I created an acronym myself, voice. Like the V is having a voice. Okay,
Yeah.
V is for voice, and that speaking with empathy. Having empathy for someone else, having empathy for yourself. Okay. The O is optimism. So I share that a little bit. Is really through the challenges. How can you be optimistic? Coming from, looking for solutions, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
not being in that self-pity because, feeling sorry for yourself, like, why is this happening? And I've been there, like, why did this happen to my daughter? Why is this happening to us? Like, was there something that we did? Are we being punished for something? All those thoughts come in. But we really have to be optimistic. Then
Yeah.
the I is impact. For me, it's really about what impact can I make? Okay. What impact can I make for others? What is my impact giving to
Mm-hmm.
others? Okay. The C is courage, having courage. Okay. And no matter what you're going through, is having the courage to speak up, having the courage to ask questions, standing up to people. Like for me, I stood up to the president of the hospital when they didn't want me to stay in the hospital because of COVID. I had the courage to speak up and voice my opinion and voice why I need to be there and I'm going to be there. Okay. So, all right. So that was my courage. E is empathy and expectations. Okay. Because I talked about that a few minutes ago, but the E is empathy again.
Okay.
I'm all about when you have a voice, is owning your truth, speaking with power, okay? Having the courage, standing up for yourself, asking questions. Like I said earlier, we need to be an advocate for our wellness. We cannot be relying on the healthcare system and the doctors and the hospitals. We have to ask questions. We
Yeah.
have to do our research. We have to do our due diligence,
Yeah.
okay? Not just take whatever they give us and take it and run with it. No, do our research, ask questions. And if you don't like the answer, you keep digging and you keep
Oh,
challenging.
yes. Yeah.
You keep challenging.
Yeah.
Okay. You keep challenging because it's your body, it's your life. And I'll be honest with you, the healthcare, they don't care about you.
No.
They don't
And
care about you.
ever with so many people getting sick right now, they are not going to have the time to help you. You've
No.
got to be your own advocate. You've got to do your own, um, like you said, your own research. Find people like me that can help you. Full disclosure, I can't heal you. You help yourself. I do not heal. Nothing on the show is can heal, treat, or cure any illness. You
Yep.
have to do your own research and check with a doctor. But if you can't get a doctor's help, start doing some things to help yourself. Change your diet,
Exactly.
number one, first and foremost. If you can get
Yes.
good quality vitamins, then get good quality vitamins, good quality supplements. I will caution you though, if you do have an illness, or even especially if it's autoimmune or cancer, some supplements, even as good as they might be, may interfere with either medication that you're on or even foods that you eat. So be careful.
Yes.
Make sure you get some sort of direction on that. Because I learned of that from somebody with Lyme disease. I would have never thought, certain supplements are really good for you. They have really good nutrients, whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great for this or that. And she's like, yeah, but if their white blood cell counts are this or the red blood cells are that, it may interfere. And who would have thought? So I always bring
Mm.
that up on my shows because we all get caught up in that. Turmeric is good for you. Whatever it might be. Turmeric, sea moss is another one. Now, sea moss can interfere with the thyroid, different things like that. Like I said, this is not medical advice, but for educational purposes only, those are things you have to consider. Yes, you have to do your own research. Yes, you have to be your own advocate, but get professional advice, especially if you do already have an illness, because everything is off, and the littlest thing might change that, and not always for the better. Even with good food, even myself, when I had suffered from multiple food allergies, I thought like quinoa, for example, would be good for me. It wasn't good for me. It was a grain and it was hard for me to digest. Simple
Okay.
things like that, you just don't know. So,
You just don't know. Yeah, I firmly believe like get advice, direction from, like I went to a naturopathic
yeah.
physician. We did an allergy test, food, what food allergies I have. And yeah, and it came out that I was allergic to garlic and tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Sounds like
okay.
too much Italian food at some
I
point.
know. I know, right? I'm Italian. And
There you
so
go.
that's what came out in the food allergy test. And so, yeah, absolutely. A nutritionist, like get advice from people that really want to educate you,
Hmm.
put you on the right supplements. You're absolutely right about supplements because people think, oh, it's good. It's no, not everything is
Not
good for you.
everybody. Yeah. And I
Okay.
always bring that up just because we do get caught up in that. It's very easy. Every other commercial is a supplement or this or that, or Dr. Oz says, or whatever.
I
I
know. I
hear
know.
that a lot at work, my other job when I worked at the jail. Dr. Oz said, but you figure out what's right for you, and especially if you're ill, be careful with what you're putting in your body. It can be food, real food, but it's not always good for you. You have to figure out what works for you and what's right for you, where your blood cell counts are,
Hmm.
all of that. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but just something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Yes. So absolutely true.
yeah. So you talked about your mental strength, I think, already. So let's talk
Hmm.
about a few tips. And I think you've talked about a lot of them already, but what are your number one tips when going through something like this, watching your daughter in pain? Let's go through the pain. Watching your daughter in pain, watching, I mean, I don't know if she was like laid up in bed, how long she was laid up in bed, or how long she was in a hospital. Watching that, how
It's, I
you,
think a tip is having faith,
yeah.
coming from the belief that it's going to be better. It's going to be
Mhm.
okay. And but keep fighting. Like I think it goes back to keep looking for solutions.
Yeah,
Keep working towards that instead of being in the victim self-pity
right.
party. Okay. It's always be in that having faith and praying. You know, I did a lot of praying.
Mm,
And that's what kept me going every day. To be honest with you, that kept me going was that faith and that praying. And
mm,
so that is, I would say, the biggest tip is really, and I'm not talking about religion here. I'm just talking about what do you believe in, whatever you believe in,
yeah,
okay? And surround yourself with the right people, people that are going to be there to help you,
yeah,
support you, you know, positive people. Surround yourself with people that are really going to be there for you,
yeah,
as well while you're going through this. And take time for yourself, even going through something as difficult. Like self-care, you
yeah,
know, is important. Like even, you know, meditation, you know, breathing, exercising, whatever you got to do to take care of yourself while you're helping someone. As the
yeah,
caregiver, I needed to take care of myself in order to be there for her.
right.
You know, so that I would say is another tip that I would share for everybody is really you got to take care of yourself first.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, you do. You
Yeah,
really do.
on you first. Yeah,
Yes, you
yeah.
do. You
Okay.
do. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So talk about. We've got about 5 minutes left. So talk a little bit about your book, From Pain to Peace, and then give us a tiny, tidbit about your business, and then how people can reach you.
Okay. So the book From Pain to Peace: A Mother's Heartbreaking Journey Through Losing a Child is available on Amazon, but it's my website is fromjobtojoy.com,
Mm-hmm.
and both of my books are there. You know, as a business coach, I really empower women that want to leave the 9 to 5 and want to start a business. And so I help them to start a business successfully. And so, and doing the inner work. You know, my book, The Freedom 7 Steps to Thrive in Life and Business, is really about the inner work that is so important. That how do we, you know, start a business? Why are we staying stuck
Mm-hmm.
in our life today? What's keeping us stuck? So my book is really doing the inner work that is so needed. So on my website, all my resources are there. My books are there available. You can go right to my website and it'll direct you to Amazon, for my books. But that's really my passion, is to really help women figure out what they want to do, that loving what they do every day instead of being miserable,
Mm-hmm.
unappreciated on their
Right.
job.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm passionate about, is helping women to
Mm-hmm.
go from the 9 to 5 into starting a business. Or not even if they don't want to be an entrepreneur, because it's not for everybody, but are they in a career that they love?
Right. Yeah.
Are they doing what they love to do? Is so important.
Did a vision board exercise yesterday. Tell us, like, was there any aha moments during that? I'm just curious.
Oh, yeah. My event that I had yesterday was the
Yeah.
goal setting, because every year I do goal setting and vision mapping, because I'm a
Okay.
firm believer in setting goals.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, you can have a goal, but what steps are you doing
How do you
to
get
take
there?
to get there?
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to get there?
Yeah.
Not just write a goal and then, okay, be doing it. And then we created a vision from those goals. Like, what do we want to bring into our life?
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to manifest? You know,
Okay.
and having those visuals. So visualization is a very powerful tool that really helps you to manifest what you want to bring in, you know. And so that is so important. So for those of you that are listening here, if you haven't done a vision board, go out, do it, set goals, realistic goals that motivate you. That's something that I talked about yesterday in my workshop, is What are the goals that will motivate you? Like, why do you want this? Why do you want to achieve this goal? Like, what is the feeling, the experience, you know, of, like, for me, freedom. Why did I write about freedom? Because freedom to me is so important, to be doing what you love to do
Mm.
with the right people, and just being in that place of having your living your passion, living your purpose every
Yeah.
day. Okay. And that's freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom is not being told what to do
Right. Yeah.
by a man, by a boss, by a
Mm.
company. You are
Yeah.
in control of your own destiny. You're the CEO of your life.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so setting goals, but taking action. It begins with action, but decide what you want is so
Hmm.
important. It begins with that decision. It really does.
So did anybody like? Did you have any aha moments at the
The ahas were that they would write them, but they don't see them. Like, they don't stay on top of them. Like, they don't
Yeah.
revisit them. They just write them and then they put them away. So
Yeah.
one of the things is we said yesterday was that to have them in front of you all the time, so that they're there in front of you, have them visual.
Mm.
Okay. Because, and that's again, your vision board, have it in front of you, what you want to create, not just put it in a drawer and you're done and you wrote them and that's it. So that's what they were saying, that when something doesn't work out, why haven't you achieved it? Because you haven't stuck with it, you gave up, it didn't work. Because a
Mm.
lot of times we lose patience, we want things done.
Yeah.
Like for me, when one of my goals was to leave corporate world, it didn't happen overnight. It took me 6 years,
Yeah.
but I kept working at it
Yeah.
and working at it and didn't give up, because I always, and I tell people, all my clients, is what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to do this?
Yeah.
And what is it that you desire, that you want to bring in? And why does it excite you? If it doesn't excite you, why are we doing, like, even as a business owner, if this business is not exciting you, then why are we doing it?
Right.
So it's very important to come from that feeling, that place. But it does, you have to take action. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the things that came up in the class, was that they weren't really doing it. They
Hmm.
wrote them, because you got to write them on paper. Like, that's the other thing. Some people didn't even write them on paper.
Mm.
Okay. And so that was very telling, that they were, sharing that with me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really powerful. It was really good.
Yeah. Another way of saying it is write the vision and make it plain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to do it again this year, but I need to do
Yes.
more.
Yeah.
I have a prophetic mentor, and he told us last year to write down what we wanted to see for the year in our lives. And everything I wrote down in January has come to pass, but I had to take action.
So
I wrote my book. I did an article in a magazine. I started a TV show. Almost everything that I wrote down has happened. Maybe not everything, but a good portion of it. The largest
good.
have happened. So I'm going to do it again this year for next year. But I also feel like I need to do a little bit more of that throughout the year.
Good.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I wrote some of my goals yesterday, but I'm gonna finish my vision, and get those done.
yeah.
So yeah. So that's where people can connect with me. Everything's on my website, that they can
And what's
find
the
me. Oh, from jobtojoy.com. I'm
okay?
also on LinkedIn.
Okay.
On Facebook, Tina Kadish, as well. So you can find me there. I also
Okay.
have a page on Facebook, from Job to Joy as well, a business page.
Oh, good. Okay. I'll have to. I don't know if I joined that. I'll have to look. I'm not sure.
Okay, take a look at it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you so much for being on tonight. I think this was amazing. I am so thankful that you shared your daughter's journey.
thank
Your
you.
It's so needed, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast. People really need to know how to handle these types of things, and now more than ever,
I
whether
agree.
it's a spouse, whether it's a daughter, whether it's whatever, a family member, close family member, everybody, I hate to say it, I don't want to even put that in the atmosphere, but many people are getting sick right now. So for you to share that, people need to know how to deal with it. You know, on my
Yes.
end, I can help them deal with it with prayer. I can help them deal with it with diet, things like that. But you also need to know how to deal with it as a mother or a spouse, or, you know, so that's why I asked in the beginning of the show. I need more people like Tina on my show, sponsors. I'm looking to get people booked for the rest of the year and then going into 2023. So please
Okay.
reach out to me. You can reach out to me through text. You know, we can set up a time to chat. Instagram Messenger or Facebook Messenger are my best ways. Email stuff gets lost.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good to
Those
know. Good to know. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Well, this was great. Thank you, Paula, for having me today.
Yes, thank you so much for being here and being real and just sharing it all with us. I very much appreciate it. So,
Thank you.
everybody, we'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.